evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari to present 2016 national budget to the National Assembly tomorrow. Colonel Sambo Dasuki and 5 others battle to meet bail conditions as human rights lawyer Femi Falana insists on the revisit of the Halliburton bribery scandal. Suicide bombers kill 9 people in Maiduguri, Borno State. And a display of love and unity as Muslims shield Christians in Kenya in an attack by suspected Al-Shabaab militants.
And on Business News tonight, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission approves the removal of fixed charges for all classes of electricity consumers.
And on sports news tonight, Sepp Blatter insists he's still FIFA president and vows to appeal against his 8-year ban from football by the Ethics Committee.
We begin tonight in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, where President Muhammadu Buhari is to present the 2016 national budget before a joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday, December 22nd. This was announced to State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, which held in the council chambers of the Presidential Villa. The meeting, which was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, also discussed the new tax regime following a memo by the Attorney General of the Federation. State House correspondent Chukuma Onekusi reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari and his cabinet members in for the Federal Executive Council meeting. The talk about 2016 budget has been in the air for several weeks, and the die appears cast for the actual presentation. But before that, they have to fine-tune the budget, which the ministers say will be presented to the joint sitting of the National Assembly.
And the second was the memo presented by the Minister of Budget and National Planning seeking for approval of the 2016 budget, which was also approved. And as you know, the President will be presenting the budget before the National Assembly tomorrow morning.
The next memo is on taxation. The Federal Executive Council discussed a memo on taxation as presented by the Attorney General of the Federation.
We've noticed and observed some inadequacies of the present tax regime, and that these inadequacies have been exploited by both individuals and corporate organizations to evade tax, and this has led to loss of revenue to the government. So the new tax, the new review aims at plugging these loopholes.
There were questions on whether the president will be there live for the presentation of the budget or will get the budget laid by a minister, as has been the practice in the past.
I did say it will all be revealed, and it will be revealed tomorrow because the president will be addressing a joint session of the National Assembly.
Be it live or laid, the Nigerian people will say they want a budget that would work for the good of all. Chukuma Onekusi, Channels Television News.
Turning to other issues now, the Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, has blamed the lingering fuel crisis on what he called the sins of the past administration. The minister, who was answering questions from State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, said that the Buhari administration inherited 522 billion naira subsidy arrears from the Jonathan administration. According to him, the revelation came when the presidency went to the National Assembly for a supplementary budget of 674 billion naira, of which 522 billion was for arrears for fuel subsidy.
What we met on ground is such that we are paying for the sins of the last administration. And I'm being very serious. Now, you remember that about 2 weeks ago, we had to go to the National Assembly for a supplementary budget of 674 billion naira. Of that 674 billion naira, 522 billion naira was for arrears of fuel subsidy, which was incurred as far back as August last year. So one of the reasons why we have the fuel scarcity was the inability of the last government to make adequate provision for the fuel subsidy. Now, yes, we do face other, logistics problems, but majorly we were paying for the sins of the last administration.
Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed. In the meantime, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachukwu, has deployed NNPC officials across the country to monitor the supply and the sale of petroleum products. The minister who gave this directive today said any marketer found to be holding petrol or found to be selling above 87 naira per litre will have his licenses withdrawn. Dr. Kachukwu advised the NNPC official to be firm and record daily supplies made to service stations and sales made at the end of each day to his office. He explains that it has become imperative to deploy staff of the NNPC to conduct direct monitoring of marketers and petroleum products dealers due to their recent unpatriotic activities. The former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, may spend the festive season at home if he meets his bail terms. Colonel Dasuki, former Minister of State for Finance, Bashir Yuguda, former Sokoto State Governor Atahiru Bafarawa, and 3 others were admitted to bail in the sum of 250 million naira each, and 2 sureties in like sum. Ruling on the bail application, Justice Pt.1 ordered that the sureties must be retired, all serving civil servants in a government parastatal. Also, the bail terms state that one of the sureties must be resident in the Federal Capital Territory. He must also own landed property worth 250 million naira. The court then ordered that the accused persons deposit their travel documents with the court registrar in the case where this condition applies in another court.
Basically 2 sureties each in the sum of 250 million naira, and then with a property worth that value, which must be properly verified, and swear to an affidavit of means, and they must deposit their passports, and that's basically what the bail import is all about. But in addition to the bail, His Lordship has now also directed that the complainant, which is the government, should not detain them again, and if they need them for any further investigation, it should be conducted between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. and they should be allowed to go home. The same sureties in the other court can also serve as sureties here. So, and they're all in line with the new act, which is to the effect that bail conditions should not be harsh, and it should only be the one that will ensure that the defendant or the accused is present or is available to attend this trial.
Lagos lawyer and civil rights activist Femi Falana has thrown his weight behind the ongoing probe into the $2 billion arms deal, which has thrown up a lot of names. Mr. Falana, however, believes that the dragnet should be extended to the $180 million Halliburton scandal, which first came to light under former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He says the same political will that is being applied to the arms deal is needed to see the Halliburton case to a logical conclusion. Mr. Falana was speaking on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
I've gone to the United States. I've met with President Obama, and I told the whole world what $50 billion has been stolen from our country in the last 10 years. And we want to recover them for development. And we want to recover the money for development. And those countries, the heads of those governments have said, oh, we're going to collaborate with you. Of course, the Halliburton case is one of the cases that have to be reopened. Even for those governments to believe that we mean well and that you are committed to the fight against corruption. You are asking for assistance from foreign countries. All those cases in which those countries have persecuted people in their own countries and have recovered huge sums of money cannot be allowed to remain unchallenged here. And that is why what I mean by saying is beyond, because you cannot be asking foreign countries to assist in the recovering of your looted wealth while you are also turning the other eye with respect to certain areas. This country can make over $2 billion from the Alibaba scandal. Oh yes. Apart from recovering the money from those who really stole it, you also can sue those banks involved for warehousing stolen money.
In part two, after the break, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is taking steps to restore order and probity to the procurement process of the nation's armed forces.